skies on your left-hand side now for our special visitor for the first time here this weekend. It's not just a B-17 flying fortress, but Sally B, a very special visitor. And a truly important visitor it is indeed, the only airworthy B-17 flying in Europe today. Based at the Imperial War Museum in Duxford, this 81-year-old warbird flies as a memorial to the 79,000 Allied airmen who lost their lives in Europe during the Second World War. Operated since 1982 by her namesake and guardian, Ellie Salingsborough of B-17 Preservation. Sally B flies with the help of a dedicated team of professional volunteers and the backing of the Sally B Supporting Club, one of the largest of its kind in the world. Maintained by the chief engineer, Darrell Captain, and his team of volunteers, run by experienced volunteer professional pilots in the hands today of Peter Kuipers, backed up by a registered charity, the B-17 Charitable Trust, something that we should all consider contributing to, because without your help, this aircraft simply wouldn't be in the sky today. B-17G built at the Lockheed Vega production line at Burbank, California in the spring of 1945. The 12,731 flying fortress Sally B is but one of a mere handful of survivors and the last remaining airworthy B-17. This particular one never saw war service. One of the last B-17s to have been built and didn't join the fleet of the US Army Air Force until the 1945. Starting then from 1948 onwards, on a test career with the Eastbourne United States Air Force, with some modifications including a man pod on one of the wing tips. And all this was no longer required, all removed. That's trainer in 1954 to await disposal. Luckily, that was not the end of the outside Paris. And after many years, in 1975, then bought by Ted White, he restored to wartime condition named Sally B after his partner at his house. First to the Binghamton Airfair on May 18th, 1971. It immediately became the official flagship of the American Air Museum in Britain. And every year, Sally B flies over the American 7-3 at Paddington near Cambridge in tribute to the US servicemen who died during World War II. I passed over 1,500 US Air Force places who also carried a even when not possible to fly over whether it be weather or something else, still a very important location to visit and well worth some time out in that itself. Many film critics now to this aircraft Memphis Belle or even again over here, bomber crew and a film station out to the 7th film Blackpool. Aircraft that was good, memorial flight past many veteran groups, and formed many high-profile events with the D-Day commemorations of D-Day flight past over the city.
Yes.
Always a tough challenge to keep coming in the air like this, many technical engineers addressed. So the B-17 Charitable Trust was formed in March 2000 to enable access to creative funding and keep it in the air for decades. Yet again, however, more failures took place, more demands on the base. Celebrating the aircraft's 80th birthday last year, the 50th flight season weekend from the home base of the not actually maybe almost the same time. Therefore, it is a tough challenge as this aircraft is able to take passengers flying, unlike some of the other British aircraft that I mentioned earlier on. It is instead a registered charity, and is thus the only B-17 run totally on public donations and sheer passion and determination. It is therefore largely due to your public support and appreciation that this B-17 continues to commemorate and actually tribute to the many who lost their lives fighting for our freedom. A generation shortly all too sadly moved on, without somebody flying in the summer skies of those memories to disappear. So they call very much for your help. The money goes directly more detailed information, please go to television.org.uk. You'll see also the new markings on her tail, the big tall black D in a white square, the famous square D of the 100th bomb group, the Bloody 100. Today, the 100th Air Refueling Wing based at Royal Air Force Eastbourne is a direct descendant of the Bloody 100, and it's why they also wear quite proudly the square D on the tails of their KC-125 Scarlet. It is to commemorate the loss of all the young airmen who died in these machines during the Second World War. Special formation, Sunny D and KC-125 this area Irish took place in Duxton just last month on the 4th of July. We'll keep the square D on the tail for the foreseeable future. Walking 4 right, 5, 20 down, 150 miles an hour at 5,000 feet, with a service ceiling of 35,000 feet, and carries 6,000 pounds worth of bombs over 2,000 miles. Trading charts now coincide with the end of the display. This magnificent machine in all its glory. Credit and tribute to all involved in keeping this splendid aircraft in an absolutely magnificent state. There are so many legendary tales to be told about this piece of venerable aircraft. Positioning now, however, for the final flight path. A true credit to the memory of the men who maintained maintained and supported the bomber and fighter aircraft of the 8th Airborne. It's heartwarming to see that people like you keep alive the memory of one of our veteran heroes that we needed. Racial sights, thundering sounds, and the trails of the wounded engine